Heyo everybody, Haku here with my live reaction and read through for Tower of God, Urek Mazino, episode 57, and I feel exhausted today. I'm so tired. I've worked all day, and before that I didn't get much sleep last night, and I felt exhausted, and then I came to record, and I turned off my camera, and I was like, oh my god, I didn't know I looked so rough. So I am sorry. I was like, oh my god, I look rough. Um, but either way, so if I'm a little mentally out of it, that may be why. But for any of you who may have missed or don't watch the Kubera videos, in the most recent Kubera video, I talked a little bit about, like, how I'm feeling, all the different things I'm covering, and how much I enjoy them. And in ranking things that I enjoy making videos on stuff, weirdly enough, ironically enough, for me, it's not like the highest, it's not like top 3 or anything, but I still really like making Tower of God videos. I really like talking about Tower of God, and that's where the struggle comes in. The struggle comes in because I really like talking about Tower of God. Again, on chapters that probably have 10 minutes or so of content, I've been yapping for over 30 minutes almost every week. I really like talking about all the details of the story and series and everything. But I just wish that it could also be good. I wish that I could talk about Tower of God, and I wish that Tower of God was good. And if you've been watching, that good enough, acceptable, fine. A lot of season 3 was that here and there, and a lot of the spinoff has been that. And of course, I'm generally very light on things. I go into things looking to take the best angle on them and everything. So, I am looking toward this in the most positive light, and yet so much of my time covering Tower of God has not been wholly positive like that. A lot of season 3 was just not very good to downright bad when it came to the last arc, and a lot of the spin-off, while I was having a lot of fun with the stuff before getting into the third floor, again, the end of Crown Game was bad. That was just bad writing. But again, I was having fun with it before that, I was having fun with it after that, but ever since we started bringing in characters and stuff from the main series, it's not that we brought them in, but they just haven't been written very well since bringing them in. And last chapter, I thought was potentially the worst so far. Again, I say worst chapter of Tower of God. I'm not sure. I feel it was pretty darn bad, but it's tough. I would have to do some rereading because season 3 had some bad stuff. And when I said that, I had people saying, what about this chapter? What about that chapter? It's like, okay, I get it. Maybe there have been some bad Tower of God chapters. But last week's chapter was rough because, again, I've mentioned before that this fight between Urek and Edwan seems founded on nothing, based on nothing, and they're just fighting for the sake of fighting. It doesn't really make sense. Like, Urek could have told Edwan, hey, you can hit Latour, but don't hit the princess, and Edwan would be like, oh yeah, Princess of Zahard, I probably shouldn't zap her to begin with. Like, Edwan probably wouldn't do something like that against Zahard, even if he is a family head and all. I feel like attacking a princess is just, not in good taste or something you wouldn't really care for. So this fight is incredibly contrived, very convoluted's not the best word maybe, but and it's one thing to sacrifice all the story and character stuff to just focus on fighting type stuff if the fighting is good. And I have read some comics with some good fights in them. I have read some solid fights in Tower of God. Tower of God has had some good fights, but the fighting there wasn't good. There were just like 2 basic exchanges, and that was pretty much it. And the art hasn't been very good in a long time. Like, I've mentioned before how I was kind of coping in season 3 by saying, it's just different. It's more consistent, but it lacks a lot of the unique qualities that we had before. And in hindsight, a lot of that, again, it was coping and it was trying to extend an olive branch and be like, if you like the art as it currently is, I'm not trying to tell you it's bad because it's just going to be arguments. But in hindsight now, I do just think that the season 1 and season 2 up through like even Hidden Floor art was just way, way better than Last Station onward, and it's only gotten worse. And I think that last chapter, a lot of the art just didn't look very good, and there's a lot of things that haven't been very good for a while. And then at the end, there's this clash between Urek and Edwan, and it's so pointless. It's so meaningless because they're like, the challenge is that we're going to both hit each other with the hardest attack we can, and whoever comes out of it the victor, the other has to be their servant or whatever. But hear me out. They make this challenge, and the challenge doesn't mean anything because Urek's like, yeah, we'll hit each other with the strongest attack, but I'm holding back. And Edwan's like, oh yeah, I'm going to counter that with my strongest attack, but I'm holding back. So what's the point? We're having a strongest attack, but we're both holding back competition? Then it doesn't matter because you're both holding back. So like, it means nothing. It is nothing. It's so stupid. That's so dumb. Like, if it was basically hit each other with the strongest attack, that's basically just a power scaling competition or whatever, but it's meaningless because both are holding back. And then by Edwan losing and stuff, it just makes Edwan this whole ever since the Mago fight, everything that's involved Edwan has made Edwan seem like a goofy, incompetent loser. And that's terrible, because I'm usually not one for, oh, serious characters need to be serious all the time, no goofing off. But the thing with Edwan is that he was an important part of Kunagro Agnes's character, and an important part of the world building, being one of these essentially godlike beings the family heads, so making him so lame and goofy compared to Urek sucks. It's really, really bad, because, I mean, I guess the relationship with Kunagro Agnes has become less important as the series has gone on and lost its way more and more, but you get to a point where this just shoots that plotline in the foot. And again, it's one thing where you don't have to have him be serious all the time, because Edwan can be a manipulator, a trickster. That's literally what the Kun family is known for him being manipulative and tricky and good with his words and everything. You could do that with him messing with Urek in the spinoff and everything, but instead of that, his character in the spinoff is more like main series Urek. He's acting like main series Urek. Meanwhile, our spin-off Urek has at times a level of overconfidence and a level of, I want to rush straight into fighting that, while not the smartest, kind of lines up with main series Urek, but then sometimes he is so overly cautious and overly shy to fights that it makes no sense. And that goes with Urek in general. He flip-flops back and forth constantly on how much he cares about tracking down Phantaminum and the ones who were once shining. Like, sometimes he really cares, sometimes he seems to not care at all, and especially with how emotionally invested he is with them and with the gems, sometimes he hates it so much, he's willing to go so far out of his way, jump across worlds, brutalize enemies, and then sometimes he doesn't seem to care at all, even when something's right in front of him. He's so inconsistent as a character. It's so rough. It's so ridiculous. And a lot of the characters, I won't rehash, like going over the side characters and stuff that I really liked, but now they're getting shoved even further to the side, and I don't know if they'll matter at all anymore. And I'm almost scared for them to matter, because that could mean something bad happens to them. But that's the main series too. These characters that end up pretty well written, there's a lot of side characters that come along and I'm like, ooh, I like this side character, but then they don't matter. It's so frustrating. And again, I watch everybody else's reactions. In Dr. Bonehead's reactions, he was like, this is a fight between Edwan and Urek, but I'm more excited when we cut away to the regulars to see what they're up to. Again, even though we didn't do much for that. And yeah, I when it comes to the spinoff, my favorite character in the spinoff has been Evelyn. I thought the stuff with her and then how losing Rue affects her and making her friendship with the bull, the queen, even though she had never um, even though she had never been able to, form a relationship with a Shinhale before, making a relationship with the queen and then carrying on past floor 2. I really, really like that. I think Rohan was fun, and I liked his relationship with Neo and Urek as our trio, but we didn't get to do too much of that before Neo got paired up with Rue in kind of a weird convoluted story that took them out. I just again, I've mentioned it week after week after week about being frustrated that this isn't very good. But again, that was just multiple other ways in which last chapter, again, after watching other people's reactions, sitting with it for a while, bothered me. Things like them both holding back, but the whole purpose of the challenge was that they were hitting each other the hardest. Things like, again, Edwan's character being so bastardized really hurts the main series with Kunagro Agnes. Stuff like that, I think, is an issue. And one thing that I've brought up a lot that plays into it is I keep saying it's not like CU hasn't gotten feedback. I think some of the feedback is too harsh. I think some of the feedback isn't really that valuable. Like people who are like, I only want to see the main character. I only want to see Bomb Fighter. I only want to see Urek fight. That's like an over-reliant focus on Bomb and fighting and an over-reliant focus on Urek and fighting. That's part of what's bad about this stuff. So again, I don't think that's a good criticism, but it's not like he hasn't gotten feedback for years now, and it's not like the mistakes being made currently are new ones. It's not like there were issues with the writing in season 3 and then CU was like, okay, I see that this was an issue or that was an issue and we fixed that, but now these new issues in the writing are popping up. No, like I said at the end of Crown Game when that was really bad, it's the same problems. It's doing things like introducing ideas or concepts or characters, and then instead of seeing them through, being like, I don't care anymore, I'm going to move on, I'm going to drop it, I'm going to do something different. Things like that. It's the same problems. And it's not like the problems haven't had feedback, which is what is so frustrating. And I mentioned last chapter that I was like, and we've probably lost so much of the readership, so much of the viewership. And take my numbers here with a little bit of a grain of salt, because again, I'm just remembering things off the top of my head. It's not like we have good sources on this stuff or anything, but after last chapter, I went and I looked at any sort of metric I could see, engagement with the newer chapters versus older chapters. And when it comes to like not just the most recent chapter, because it takes a couple weeks for it to get up now to around like 6 or 7,000 likes in the English release and stuff, but looking at the number of comments and likes on the English releases and doing the same in Korean for the most recent chapters of Urek Mazino versus the beginning of the spinoff. In English, we are at around, I think, like 20% engagement rate of where we were in the first few chapters. So from the first few chapters of the spinoff to now, we have lost 80% of the audience. 4 out of 5 people have given up on reading the spinoff. And in Korean, it's less extreme. I think it's like 25 to 30% are left. So they've lost like 70 to 75%. Again, you've still lost like 3 out of 4 people reading the spinoff by the time till now. But if we are to take that, and that's from the start of the spinoff, that's not talking about the main series. When we're looking at the peaks of the main series, which is like, I don't know if it was the break between when anime season 1 came out. I don't know if that was the break between seasons 2 and 3 or the break between the early parts of season 3 and the second part of the Nest. But whenever it was, they're the earliest chapters, and the chapters being released at the time were getting well over like 100,000 likes, getting up to close to 200,000 for some of them. And again, you see the same numbers on the Korean side of things too. And if we compare the most recent few chapters to to the peak, the height of people reading and stuff, it's at like 2% ish left in English and like 3%ish left in Korean. So I said like 90 some percent of the audience is probably gone. It's worse than that. It's like 97% of the audience in Korean and 98% of the audience in English is gone. Even if you add the anime to like get people's eyes on it and they stayed to read week after week for those weeks, they are gone now. You did not maintain like any of this audience. And it's kind of normal for there to be like peaks and troughs, but 98% or 97% in Korean, you have lost nearly the entire readership. Like, there, at some point, you've just gotta correct the ship. And I think it's another thing too. It's, if Tower of God was always like this, if it was always written this poorly, if it always had these problems with introducing and dropping things, or things not connecting properly, or this, that, whatever, the art not being very good, the over-reliance on main characters and fights, if Tower of God was always written this way, it would be different. If it was always like this, it would be a different scenario. But the issue that bothers me more is I spent years and years reading this and it was great. It was amazing. It was awesome. I got to read and do it for the channel as we were going through Name Hunt and the End of Dollar Show and Floor of Death and Hidden Floor, and even that, like, as amazing as like Return of the Prince and Workshop Battle is, even that Hell Train stuff is so good that there's not really too much of a reason to complain. Like, maybe some nitpicks here and there, but it's night and day difference from what we're getting now. It's just so very different from what we're getting now. And again, to use the same word I've been using, it's frustrating. And it wouldn't be if it was always like this, but things weren't always like this. The writing has just gone so downhill. And it's one of those things where you have all this evidence, whether it's the loss of the audience, whether it's the constant low ratings and complaints, you have so much feedback to say, change things. But we're doing the same mistakes. And those mistakes weren't always around. There were years where we didn't have to deal with those mistakes, so why do we have to deal with them now? And it just, thinking about things like Edwan and bringing in Garam and Bakeryun again, I just hate how so much, and this is something I've said a lot too, I hate how so much of the past few years of Tower of God has been unwriting good stuff. It's like, you wrote good things with the lore. People liked the lore stuff. Why unwrite them? And things like the end of season 3 with the Dorian stuff. Why unwrite good things? You wrote good things, stick to those. Why drop them and say, nah, I've changed my mind, and throw up some random bullshit? Like, we had good stuff. I'm just, again, this is what you're going to have to deal with for me, I guess, when it comes to Tower of God. But again, here I am talking for another near 20 minutes just about Tower of God before even reading. So extra long Haku intro, but people have been liking a more in-depth discussion and thoughts on the series, and I wish my in-depth discussion and thoughts on the series could be positive. I really do. I mentioned last time that for me, I don't want to ruin fun if other people are having fun. And for me, if something is bad, I just don't want to cover it. If I have nothing nice to say, I'd like to say nothing at all. That is my personal preference. I would prefer not to make videos where I'm just going to be negative on things. This is just a little bit different because I am so invested in Tower of God. So I am invested, and I'm going to finish out the spinoff like I said. But we're just at a point where it's been years. I don't know that I expect CU to right the ship. I don't know that I expect Tower of God to ever be good again. I think, like I've been saying the past however many weeks, it just might be dead, and what's left is a skinwalker parading as, you know, it takes the name Tower of God, but it's not Tower of God anymore, and it hasn't been for years. I just think that might be the situation that we're in. I don't know if I've read anything that I've loved so much that's gone so bad. Okay. Well, that might be a lie. Naruto exists. I mean, I didn't love Naruto like I loved Tower of God, but I did love Naruto and still do love Naruto. But that's arguably even more poorly written than Tower. That's arguably way worse than Tower of God writing wise. Even when it was good, it's probably worse than Tower of God. You know, that's something that I love and have a connection to, but it kind of was almost always just bad writing wise when you think about it. So, you know, maybe this isn't a unique experience. But either way, I'm going to go ahead and quit rambling. We can read the chapter and talk about it as we go. Gonna turn into a long video as always, of course, even though I'm tired. We have some lightning crackling. I can sense something approaching from afar. Has the REA family already caught on? This is random. I can't have them asking the administrator to intervene. Just hold on a second. So, is REA the ruler of the 4th floor then? I mean, they're a ruler of a bunch of nothing, and that's something I think Pate brought up, is that, you know, he's so disappointed in how the locations used to be so cool. And he said he thought so even in Season 3, and I can agree with that. Season 3 has some cool locations. We might have not used them the best, but it does have some cool locations. Whereas out, like, the Mansion Island was whatever for the spinoff, and Leicester City isn't that bad an idea, but the issue I had is that outside of Leicester City, it's just a bunch of trees and stuff. Like, regulars should get transported here they just end up with a bunch of trees and stuff, and they have to walk to the testing grounds, and the testing grounds is just a random place in the trees. Like, it doesn't make a ton of sense. You'd think there'd be a little bit more than just Leicester City around. And then here on floor 4, there's this underground bunker that they've gone into, but other than that, it's just a wasteland. There's nothing here. Just hold on a second. Here we go. Do you ever listen? And is this supposed to be a little bit of a retcon of Edwan was distracted, actually. That's why a family head looked so embarrassing. Is this a response? Like, we need to throw in this scene because people are rioting over how Edwan's being treated. Then we have Urek laughing. We saw it last time. Behold the great Urek Mazino. I was holding back a bit, you know. I hesitated too much because I was worried the administrator would get involved. I was going easy on you. From now on, I'm your master. I think I'll call you Edmon. What kind of name is that? Go on then, greet your new master. This can't be happening, Edmon. What the heck is taking him so long? Where did he disappear to? Evelyn, look. It's Urek. Hey. Huh? Who are you? This just keeps getting better and better. Ugh. You remember when people looked upon a family head and their eyes burned out? You remember? You remember that? This just keeps getting better and better. Episode 58, Onus. Your Highness, I really need you to respond to me. Darn it. I thought we were finally going to climb the tower together. Please don't tell me I'm never going to see her again. Just say something. Please. And is Enjo gonna get taken out too? Also, I just remembered something that I forgot to bring up in the intro. Is Urek is like making these promises to the princess, which is why he's keeping her alive, because he said he'd kill Zahard, and also that he's promising Garam he'd let her go after the princess if she climbed with him, and all of this stuff. But then he's telling Garam to give up on her goal. Okay, what if she just told you to give up on going after the gems or shining ones? I mean, I guess Urek would just give up. But my point is, it's hard to care about this. It was easier to care in Season 2 when we had characters we haven't heard of, so we can deal with them, and conflicts we didn't know of so that we could deal with the conflicts and know the conflicts were going somewhere. But here with Edwan, if Edwan is still his servant in the modern day, boy, that sucks. But like stuff with Edwan, we know that Urek has not escaped the tower. We know that Urek has not killed King Zahard, and we know that Urek probably hasn't met back up with Fintaminum, but we don't know exactly. I mean, that's just something we don't even know. But the fact that We don't know if he's met up with Ventaminum, and we know he hasn't done the other two things. Means that these conflicts are kind of pointless. Like, we know he hasn't done this stuff. We know that this went nowhere. We know already. Okay. Please. Please. Come on. Say something. Anything. Huh? That feels like hair. And we have this centipede leech type lady coming in. Whoa, what the heck? He's getting wrapped up. Wait. I'm going to scream. Yeah? Maybe just do so. Like, if I scream into my pocket, all my teammates are going to come running, and they're going to kill you. So how about we make a deal? If you let me go, I'll stay quiet. I'll even open the doors to all my teammates' rooms. That way you can eat them in total safety. Very much Tower of Betrayal. Getting to feast on multiple people is better than just one, right? And we haven't heard her speak yet. He's just running away screaming. He runs into this guy. Whoa. I need to tell you something. A monster crawled down from the ceiling and... Okay. Gogo-jung. Gogo-jung. Wake up, Gogo-jung. Gogo-jung? I was sound asleep. What's going on? What's all the ruckus? Well, have you been sleeping okay? Huh? I was sleeping fine until you woke me up. Right. I was just curious. I know the journey here was exhausting. I just wanted to check that everything's alright with your sleeping arrangements. I mean, that's nice of you, but did you really have to wake me up? And now there's a massive crash. And he gets chomped on. Gah! Gah! No! And then he's getting chomped on. Help! Urek and Edwan show up. What's going on here? Urek? Urek! That monster, it's killing Gogo-jung. Edmon, here's your first mission. What? Kill that monster. Literal Pokemon battle. Why should I do that? You lost the bet, so you don't actually get a choice. Now go, Edmon. You've got to be kidding me. I don't particularly enjoy squashing insects, but come on then. This is so lame. Okay. Freezes it. It's frozen? You can use lightning and ice? You're so talented, Edmon. Shut up, don't call me that. I need to kill it while it's still frozen. Wait, and the guy is stopping Encho? What? Don't kill her, please. Let her live. I'm begging you. What makes you think you have the right to ask me that? Let go of me so I can kill that monster. No, please no. Don't kill Onus, please. What's going on here? I first met that monster, Onus, when I wandered into this place with my teammates to shelter from a sandstorm. At night I heard a noise coming from my teammate's room, so I went to check it out. There I found Onus devouring my teammate, and in that moment, I fell for her, hard, based. This has to be a joke, right? I proposed an arrangement with mutual benefits to avoid being eaten as well. I would greet the regulars who came here and lower their guard, to make it easier for Onus to eat them. I knew it was wrong, but I loved her, and she wouldn't eat anything except living humans. To her, eating humans is an active instinct. She does it to survive. There's nothing wrong with that. If anything, I'm the one who's wrong for being human. Onus was just trying to eat to survive, I'm telling you. Please, spare her life. He gets kicked away. The face. Again, the art this chapter, not very good. This isn't very good looking art, but that kind of makes it funnier. It's very amateurish looking. Yeah, cut the crap. You think you're some kind of romantic, huh? You think it's natural for Onus to eat living humans? In that case, you can let her. Feast on you. Okay? Is that it? Is that it? That's it. Nobody cares about Aru as well. We're moving on. We're moving on. Because Aru's not somehow alive, right? No, that's Encho that's with them. So yeah, they just don't care. They tied him up. And Onus, she kisses him. I knew it. I knew. And he gets crunched. All right. You loved me back. Again, I think the concept here was good. The concept of a regular tricking other regulars because he loves this monster. But we didn't have any setup, or like we didn't have any test set up around it. Like if that was something that was going on, like they get into the test, but then they find out that this is going on as part of the test. Like this guy is doing this as an aside from the test, like a subplot. That would maybe make sense. Or if there was more going on other than just like the empty nothingness that they ended up in. I think the concept is good, but the execution is just like, it feels like Siu thought of something and then immediately gave up on it. And also, Aru dying adds stakes to it. But did we need to sacrifice one of our floor 2 characters for those stakes? And I mean, really, there weren't stakes, because it was never a challenge to Edwan or Urek. It was never a challenge to Edwan or Urek. The other regulars didn't have to deal with it. Edwan and Urek dealt with it. So if it wasn't a challenge to Edwan and Urek, and it wasn't something that the regulars had to overcome, then there wasn't actually any stakes to begin with. And so we killed off a character we could have used for more stuff to the only person who had any stakes was this guy who then got killed in the end. Like, again, it just feels like introducing something, giving up on it, rather than it just being a short subplot for something greater, because we didn't have a something greater going on. Hold on, says Urek. I feel like, Your Highness, why isn't she responding to me? I'm forgetting something. That's odd. Probably nothing important, just forgetting Garam. Your Highness. And we cut back to Garam, pulling herself out of the rubble. That was a close one. It looks like. And again, he even got the Garam backstory, but he cares more about letting Mago go because of his promise to the princess than he cares about Garam. Really playing favorites here. It looks like. My pocket's still not working. Urek, you little... Just wait until I see you again. You're dead, Urek Mazino. And we have Baekryun. Hello? Is someone down there? The two of them meet. Hey, I know you, and we end. Very nothing chapter. Very nothing chapter. We just moved on. About it. So, long discussion was kind of the bulk of the video. Chapter was nothing. We took this subplot that ended up not even being a subplot. It was just an excuse to kill off Aru. And again, Urek, I'm doing this to protect my friends. I'll kill you if you hurt my friends. Aru, questionably a friend. Teammate at best. But nobody cares. Oh well. We care, like the amounts that we care or don't care about various things still don't make any sense. Edwan being with them sucks. The treatment of Edwan sucks. Yeah, this, again, it's just bad. Like, and every time I say, oh, this is bad, I'm not enjoying this, everybody's like, it gets worse. So it's like, you know, I have my own opinions. Sometimes things that people don't like, I'm like, that's fine, I don't care. And sometimes things that people are cool with for some reason, I'm like, oh, that's terrible. So I'll make my own opinions, but I'm not looking forward to it getting worse, as awful as it is already. This shit sucks. This super sucks. So yeah, I still like talking about Tower of God, or I wouldn't have for over half an hour, but as much as I like Tower of God, I really wish it wasn't bad. like, even if it was okay, that'd be better than bad, but God, this is not good stuff. This is not good. So I don't have much else to say, I guess. It didn't give me as much to say as last week's chapter. I talked about how the subplot could have been written better, but the way it was written, it wasn't good. And that's about all I've got, because nothing else really happened. Nothing else really happened. So, if you like the video, leaving deflated. Usually I come in, trying to be excited about it and leave crashing out about it. This time I come in not again, always trying to look for the best, but I come in knowing that I don't like this right now and leave just deflated. If you didn't like the video, comment down there to tell me what you thought of my thoughts and reaction. Subscribe for more Tower of God, much more on the channel. Follow on Twitter if you no, you can't. I keep going into the same thing. You cannot do so. So, if you would like to help support the channel by dropping a super thanks or sharing around, it's appreciated. If you'd like to help support the channel by becoming a member or patron, you get One Piece Bingo a little early, get your name at the end of videos, and of course you're supporting the channel. Thank you so much to members and patrons. Thank you to chosen regulars Evan Holly and Bertie Wooster, Magical Girls, Didi Banna and Maru, Chivington Student, David Langstaff, Slayer Candidates, SG, and Stan Cedar, and Pure Element, Pate Ariel. Thank you so much for your support. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you all next time.